just before, we're getting kind of towards the end, but just before we get there, like recently, or like let's say the last year and a half, you also started venturing into the other side of the music industry. So, working at a record label, Future House Music. Am I right?
That's the one.
Um, and we had some interesting discussions about how, or like how you really see now what goes on behind artists and what makes them be famous and that kind of thing. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit, because me personally, I had no clue that, how this kind of worked, and you really surprised me when you spoke to me about it. So maybe
Yeah.
you can tell the people, man.
So I mean, there's a lot. So a lot of the music that comes to us, or like what I've learned, for example, as the future, like the label that I work for, where we are specifically in house music, and we're not signed. We're an independent label. Like we're one of, I mean, there's quite a few in the world, but I think here in Holland, when it comes to this genre, I think we are actually in the top 10 in the world when it comes to like size. But an independent label kind of, we push our artists, and they have obviously a lot of talent and they're really good. But I know I just, through working at a record label, was made aware to like the impact of, or like the kind of the politics or the red tape that goes behind music. Like, we see artists and the stuff that they put out, and we're just like, damn, they are so talented that this was just, it was bound to work. And I mean, in some, like, by all means, a lot of people that are out there, like the top immensely talented people who've been grinding at this their entire lives, but behind them, you have teams of obviously very, very ambitious and very like skilled professionals, like Scooter Braun and whatnot, like pushing like Justin Bieber and Ariana. And then they're all signed to like majors, and basically the major labels, like I think Sony, Universal, and one other, they kind of this. I, mean, I don't want them getting me in trouble and shit. Like, what if they
Yeah,
see this in the future and they're like,
expose them.
but,
Mm,
but
mm,
basically, like, they kind of like pick who makes it to the top, and it was just like a very interesting kind of different perspective to see, that in the music industry, obviously you need to work hard, be very talented, but there's kind of a lot more to it. It's like it's really a business, which is also how artists are kind of like run and treated up until they reach a certain size where you can't really push them around so much anymore, Because I don't know if you guys have heard like a lot of like producers and artists sign like death deals, like as soon as they start kind of catching a little bit of clout, they get signed to a label and then they're signed for the next 10 years and they can't really do nothing.
yeah. yeah.
Like Lil Wayne, when was the last time he
Yeah.
dropped an album?
Fiasco with him.
Recently.
Lil Wayne dropped the album very recent.
But since how long?
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 years ago about that he dropped the Carter 5, right? Carter 5. Carter
Yeah, I
6.
think so. And then he
Or,
dropped another The Funeral like
yeah.
last.
But before that, it was like 5 years or something. He was stuck with Birdman.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not that he didn't have the music, it was there. It's just like, they it's politics. Everything's kind of like tied up in a very, very smart way. Like a small artist who doesn't know the ropes and then comes up against one of these, not up, but then is like presented like, you know, the road to riches, or like the gold, like the, what's it called? But
Golden Ticket?
yeah, the golden ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
They're bound to like just jump and be like, this is it.
yeah.
And either then, like, you work hard, and luck is also on your side, because there's part of it which is luck, and it pays off for you, and then you can like do your thing and hopefully hone your craft in a way that the world gets to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
I
need
think
to
it's
be.
a difficult thing to. It's like a difficult dilemma because obviously, like if you're an artist and then like some big company approaches you and say they're like, yeah, I'm gonna pay you this amount, like which is a ridiculous amount of money that you've never seen before in your life, right? It's hard
Mm,
to not be distracted by that, but like in
yeah.
the background, I'd imagine there's like a bunch of like caveats to to signing a deal of that sort of magnitude? Because like typically with that, I would imagine that like you're basically signing away the rights to your music.
Right.
So
Dude, a lot of times to your likeness as well, man.
yeah, exactly.
Like
So like
literally your name, bro.
so
And
a
yeah,
lot of the money that you would be making off your own music, like it by yourself, as an individual artist is kind of, I don't know, being like
Yeah.
spread out across,
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
like being
And
used
a lot
for
of
different
times,
things.
yeah. No, go ahead. My bad. My bad.
No, that was basically it. But I was gonna say, that's what's so interesting about. I know all of you know Russ, right?
I was
Yeah,
about to bring that up, Lewis. I was
yeah.
And
about to
yeah,
bring
his
that up.
mindset, like, yeah, there's just been like a bunch of like Instagram posts by Russ and stuff, and how he works, and like I know I've been sharing them with you, Jimmy, and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of inspiring. I think it's like a very difficult road to go down,
Yeah, man.
like owning all your shit and sort of doing everything by yourself. Like it takes a lot more than just being an artist to be able to do that. Like you need to really understand like a lot more
Yeah.
about how music works as a business, like you're saying,
Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah.
Because Russ, because what he was saying was like, because I think he dropped like 13 projects before even, yeah, man, like I think in a span of like 3 years or something, he dropped like 13 projects, and then there was after the 13 project that he released one that actually got him like money and recognition,
Yeah.
and he stayed living with his parents till he made like I think it was like 11 million US dollars, and then the whole point what he was talking about with the music industry is that he was then able to leverage the situation. You know what I mean? He could come up to a record label, could approach him, and then he could kind of decide his own terms as well because he already had a name for himself. Whereas if you're a young artist, you start getting a bit of clout, then you see $1 million that this record label offers you. It's like, 1 million, okay, but that's
You
before
already know.
taxes. That's before money
That
gets paid
ends
to your
up with being like
manager,
300K, bro.
publicist. You end up with 300K, and then that's before you start even spending. You know what I'm saying? So it's like. It is, Lewis. I felt you because I remember sending you that video and I was like, man, this is inspiring as hell. Like, it's a hard road to go down. I think you got to work damn hard,
Hmm.
but it definitely keeps you like he's independent now. He's able to make his own decisions and be able to say what goes in the contract and what doesn't.
And also really importantly is like he has creative control over his album, you know?
Exactly.
Like so otherwise in some situations they can be like, ah no, this is we don't want this in the album. We want your album to sound more like this because this is what's popular or like those kind of things. Whereas he can literally make an album of him just farting and release it. It's fine.
Yeah, true though. True.
And another thing you need to know about, like when record labels just give you money like that, they're not giving you money. They're giving you an upfront payment of the money that they think you'll get from your streams. So then, like, let's say they give you $1 million, then basically you're not getting any money off of any of your streams up until you hit a million.
Right.
And then, like, you're probably signed to like an 80-20 deal where you only get 20% of the money that you get from streaming.
From
You
the
know, so like for them it's a gamble, but then within like that million, as you say, you're paying all these different things and you're not even getting that money. Like that's money that they're loaning you that you've technically like earned already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Crazy
bro,
game out there, dude.
the craziest thing that you were telling me was how, like, this is what had me really shook was when you told me you listed a bunch of artists and you're like, they make 0 songs. I
Yeah.
was like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yo, Eric's about to expose people,
You're
dude.
about to expose some
What do you mean to make 0 songs?
Like, oh God. All right. So like,
Without
Yeah.
baiting everyone out.
okay, so like let's say in the house scene, like the top tier artists, like there's like,
bro.
yeah, okay, like so you have like really big guys like, for example, I'm gonna give it like, Diplo, for instance, right? If you think about Diplo, if you listen to him and the songs that come out, like, what do you have a certain like sound that comes to mind when you think of Diplo?
I just think of the big Legos, dude.
What the thing is, Diplo, like, he makes
That's
all types of
Dupo.
music. So now recently he's been making tech house, but then with Major Lazer he made like dance hall and Afro beats, and then he makes like EDM. And it's because like he's so big that he has smaller artists just make a song for him. He slaps his name on it, and then that shit like stuff like, and then like like the magnitude of his name can make a song go far, and then obviously little artists want that as well because then they'll be like credited at some point, and if they become big enough, they'll eventually become like a feature artist and whatnot. But so many of the world's big artists like are like busy touring and living the good life and just doing their own thing. They're also businessmen, dude. Like they smart. They just they hear a sound that's up and coming or like an artist who's made something and they're like, bet this will be my song. I'll put my name on it and this will make you money and kind of get you recognition. And if you can keep doing some stuff that really puts you like out there, then like we can get like a feature and then you can start building yourself up from that situation. But a lot of the big ones nowadays don't even make their own music. Like they got the way you got ghost writers, ghost producers. It's a real thing. These major labels, they have the most talented writers and whatnot behind them and behind artists who just write songs, dude, days just writing, and so
Madness.
yeah, so once again, not to take away from the musical talent of some of them,
Yeah,
but there are others that
I mean, they worked hard to get to that place, and then
that's right.
crazy though. Thanks for sharing that, man. I know you're a little scared that you ain't gonna be a DJ no more.
Get fired, bro.
The industry,
Diplo about to call up. Yo, Diplo, please don't cancel our podcast. Please.
Yo, Diplo see this podcast, I think they'll do a lot better for us.
Yo, Eric, I swear, just DM him the podcast, bro.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, what you think, man?
Hey, we mentioned you in Nomadic Stories.
Yo, give us a shout out.